Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So I just finished a massive teardown of 13 vacuum cleaners, and although vacuum cleaners are a great source of scrappable material, they can produce a tremendous amount of waste. I actually got 117 pounds of plastic and other non-recyclable materials from this teardown that is unfortunately going to have to go to the garbage and end up in the landfill. So that is definitely a problem and a shame. There are, as you can see behind me, a lot of items that I was able to collect, divert from the landfill, and definitely have scrap value for. So I'm gonna do a small weigh-in today, show you the materials that I found, how to identify it, and more importantly, how to maximize your profit and divert as much of the vacuum cleaners away from the landfill as possible. So here we go. First thing I do want to strongly suggest when you're taking apart vacuum cleaners is make sure you have a type of mask, glasses. They can be very smelly as well as very dusty, a lot of pet hair sometimes, so definitely want to make sure you take the necessary precautions with that. I actually still have the hint of vacuum cleaner smell in the garage here, so that is something I'm going to have to make sure I air out, but definitely a mask. Even some of these materials you see still here have some heavy dust residue, so definitely want safety first. The other thing I will say is a lot of my viewers have said they no longer pick up vacuum cleaners, they just take the cord, which is an excellent source of scrappable material, but their reasoning behind that is that they believe that the motors are no longer made with copper, but rather now aluminum windings. And that is true with some of the vacuum cleaners, but I cannot tell just from garbage day. These vacuum cleaners, I had some that were Bissell, some that were Hoover, some that were Shark, some that were Dyson, and I got actually 7 copper motors that were copper inside of them. I actually had 2 exact same vacuum cleaners, 2 Sharks that were exactly the same style, same model. The only difference was the screw heads were different. Once I opened them, one of them had a copper motor, one of them was aluminum. So again, it is entirely a random draw, if you will, or luck. And in my opinion, I will definitely take the chance to open them because there are definitely other goodies inside of them. Every one of the motors, regardless if the motor is aluminum or not, does have some clean aluminum still on it. They do have the armatures inside, which are always number 2 copper as well. And if the motor is number 2 copper right now is currently going for $4.43 a pound Canadian in London, Ontario. So it's definitely a great score and, in my opinion, worth the risk. So I'm going to go through a couple of things today. The first thing that I do want to address is this is my retractable cord device, if you will. And these are found obviously in some of the vacuum cleaners. These are worth opening as well. I do see a lot of people that, as I said, will just cut the cord and leave the rest of it. But the nice thing about these is once I open it up, and all I did was I just broke it open. There are a couple connector bolts you can see here. These will, once I open it, have some really nice yellow brass inside of it. This is actually from this one. You can see some nice yellow brass. And there is as well, when I open this, the rest of this, this is my retractable cord that is steel. Okay, you do have to be careful with these. As you can see, here is an opening of one. I do not have to remove this guard here, and the reason I don't want to open it anyway is because once I do, there is a steel cord in there or cable in there that can spring out, potentially get you in the eye, definitely leave a nice welt on your arm. So you don't have to open these, even though there is plastic on it. You can see I put a magnet to it. This is going to go into my tin pile as is, just like this one here, okay? So inside of there you can see that coil. Don't touch that, don't have to, okay? There is a small bit of, obviously, plastic here that's gonna go into the garbage, but now I have the entire cord here that I have, and these cords, as I said, are an excellent source of scrappable material. This at a scrapyard is gonna be classified as 40% appliance wire, And the reason that is because if I look at the cord, you can see there are 2 individual strands that are coated, as well as an outer coating of plastic. A scrapyard will look at plastic to copper ratio and copper recovery. Because there is 2 coatings of plastic, there is definitely more plastic, less copper, and 40% appliance wire right now is going for $1.35 a pound in London, Ontario. So an excellent, definitely an excellent score. The other reason I do want to talk about these is because some of your motors will have some additional cord inside of it. Here, right here is a great way to upgrade. So again, there is the wheel. There is 2 coatings of plastic, but watch this. All I do, take the tops off. This is garbage. This wire now, because these are individually coated, there is more copper in these. This is actually going to be an example of my 60% appliance wire. And currently 60% appliance wire is going for $2.16 a pound. So definitely a better price than my 40%. And I definitely want to separate this. So that is something to keep in mind. Even though this is a small bit of strand, it definitely adds up. And I definitely want to make sure I separate it as I go along with my teardown. I made the mistake when I first started scrapping. I had it all together in a bag, and it took me hours to separate. So do it as you're scrapping, and you'll save time in the long run. So again, here is some 60% appliance wire, some really nice yellow brass on my retractable cable, okay? But here again is my nice cord. And I do want to quickly show this. These are all the cords from my vacuum cleaners. I am looking forward to opening these and weighing these for you. Some people say that they actually will upgrade those, take the outer strip off or the outer coating and put all of it in their 60%. In my opinion, it's not worth it. For me, I lose the value on the coating, but it depends on the people. It depends on the amounts that they get. But again, it's not worth it for me, but it is an option that some people say. The motors, again, getting to the motors, definitely, in my opinion, these 2 are worth grabbing for a couple reasons. Once I take the faceplate off, they still are going to be tin. So the cover, all I do is I will hit it with a hammer off. And I do have videos of full breakdowns of motors. I will include those links in my description. But some tin from this. Inside of this is going to have some clean aluminum. You can see right here, put a magnet to it. So this is going to be aluminum. My bucket here are all my aluminum from this. It's not much, but this aluminum is going to go for about 60 cents a pound or 50 cents a pound. Inside of here, there is right here, I already pulled this out, some more tin. Okay, so this big bucket is my tin. This is my armature. This armature, if I scratch this, sorry, is always going to be number 2 copper. And I do have a video of how to remove these armatures or the copper out of these, and I will also include the link to that. I am going to have an upcoming video doing a weigh-in of the armatures to see if they are actually worth taking the copper out, so stay tuned for that one. But here again is a little bit of tin I need to knock off. There is my motor. I could actually, and I will address this, I could bring these motors in whole and get motor weight price. It's about 15 to 20 cents a pound. But again, for me, if I scratch this, which I'm going to do, you can see this one reveals number 2 copper here. So $4.43 a pound for this copper. Definitely going to make more money taking that copper out and selling it as number 2 copper than I would for the weight of the motor. The other thing with these motors that are great is every one of these motors from the sides of it are going to have little connectors like this. Okay, these 2 you can see are actually brass color. If I scratch them, you can see that that does reveal brass. So these are yellow brass. Not all of them are brass. Some of them are going to be steel. You can see this one right here, put a magnet to it. Okay, so it is magnetic. But some of them are brass. Some of them will just have the tip that is going to be, so for example, even the ones that are steel are going to have a little bit of brass still on them. You do need to open them because inside of them you can see there is going to be a little bit of number 2 copper, so I'm just going to do that. There you go. Small little bit of number 2 copper. There is a spring inside of that. If they are the brass ones, you definitely have to make sure. So look at that. There you go. Just going to remove that. There's my spring. In order to get yellow brass price, which is right now $3.50 a pound, I do have to remove the spring. I do also have to remove the plastic, and all I'm going to do is hit that with a hammer. Probably do it right now just to show you, make sure I have safety glasses on. But you can see, just pops off, a little bit more garbage, but just broke it. So some yellow brass here, little bit of number 2 copper there. And this I will actually just throw in my tin. It's not magnetic. I'm not even sure what it's made of, but I will throw it into my tin, get some weight for it, better than nothing. But definitely my motor here, I did check that it's copper. If they are not copper, so as I said, from this, I had 6 that were not copper, like this one. So don't be fooled. Even though it looks like copper, you do have to do the scratch test. If it reveals a magnetic, metallic look. So you can see that is metallic. That means these are aluminum. And I won't even bother opening these. I will leave these as is and just put them into my tin pile. Okay, so this one, very simple. I am going to open it. There are a lot of nice little number or 40%, 60% appliance wires still on here, cables, some brass connectors. But just going to quickly show you how easy it is to get this copper. I'm going to take a grinder. Okay, that's it, done, went through. I think my blade is actually nearing the end, so just gonna wanna make sure I cut all the way through, which I did. Okay, good. There we go. So just gonna turn it now, keep it in my vise. This is what I love about my vise, just using leverage. Okay, always have to make sure that it's secure. Just gonna take a pry bar, and look at that. That's all my number 2 copper that I'm gonna weigh in a minute. Where is my pry bar? There it is. Okay, and I'm just gonna use leverage. Sometimes there is a small piece of plastic coating that I have to take off. Okay, but just want to do that first. Hit that out. Okay, there we go. And actually the nice thing is now that the cords are out, I can actually even just grab it with even a pair of pliers and just use leverage. Look at that. So there's some nice number 2 copper. Make sure I pull the plastic out. Gonna cut that connector off. But that connector is brass as well, so it's gonna go into my brass bucket. Okay. Sometimes these will break open. You can see the little sheets or little fins, and that's okay too. Just be careful because they can be sharp. Okay, but just gonna pull this one out now. So there is definitely some tin here that I have. So there you go. So now it's getting looser because of me playing with it. But again, all I have to do is just pull it out using leverage. Okay, it just slides out. There you go. Okay, so even like I said, I can even just use my muscle power, pull them out if they are stubborn. And that's why, as I said, I did not cut all the way through. So it's definitely going to make the process harder. I should have changed my blade prior to starting this video, but that's okay, it happens. Okay, so there you go. There is my copper. There is my connector. Okay, little sheets. So again, this is all going to be tin, all these little sheets. And I do actually, the great thing about this is I am going to use this as an educational example as well. I have had some people say, aren't these going to be steel because they are thick? In order to classify as steel instead of tin, the scrapyards will look at thickness of the metal. Because these are all individual plates, steel has to be thicker than 1/4 inch. So these little plates are definitely not thicker than 1/4 inch. So this is all going to be tin or shred where I am. So it depends. But again, definitely about 7 cents a pound. In London, they're actually going for about 14 cents a pound. So it all depends on where you are. Okay, but moment of truth, gonna do my weigh-in for sure here. I am not, unfortunately, gonna classify or take into consideration these, but I am gonna talk about my number 2. Here are all my beautiful armatures. So I'm gonna I'll start with my armatures. And even if I leave these as is, these would give me, I'm gonna say copper motor price at, let's say 25 cents a pound, just to keep it simple. Okay, but I am gonna take these apart. But here we go, just gonna show you, put it at 0. This weighs 6 pounds, 1 ounce, okay? Here is my number 2 copper, okay? Again, number 2 copper is going for $4 and $4. Actually, I'm gonna get my aluminum first, sorry. So 50 cents a pound for clean aluminum. I have 1 pound exactly there. A little bit more, but so 1 pound for that. So these are all my casings. My number 2, here we go, at $4.43 a pound. I have 1 pound, 15 ounces, 0.9. So 2 pounds right there of number 2 copper. And again, of those 13 motors, I had 7 that were copper. I just want to quickly show, look at these screws. These are all the screws and bolts that came from this vacuum cleaner, all the vacuum cleaners. So this is going to go into my tin pile. I have 1 pound, 8 ounces just in screws. Okay, I do have to change right here. Oh, sorry, I should have put this in extra on there. So here's 11 ounces for just this armature with that. Okay, I am going to have to change my scales, go to a bigger one because my tin... Here's my big bucket of motors, or sorry, of tin from my motors. 20 pounds for this. I've got 20, put this on there too. I got about 20 and a half pounds, 21 pounds with that motor on there. So 21 pounds of tin there from just my motor casings. Okay, so it definitely adds up for sure. And the last thing, I'm gonna put this on here. All of my wires here, this is, as I said, my 40% appliance wires. I have 13 vacuum cleaners worth, and at $1.35 a pound, I have about 13 pounds of wire. So 12 and a half, 13 pounds of my wires. So again, a great score. Definitely something that people will get for sure. But in my opinion, with these, there is definitely a lot of other goodies that you can get. You definitely could not know or, you can guess. But copper, I don't want to take the chance and pass up this number 2 copper. I definitely as well want to make sure I get my armatures because they are all number 2 copper. Again, a lot of aluminum. And I still have, from my windings, a lot of yellow brass that I can still take off. Okay, and you can see there is a whole bunch of them here that come off of here, and also my little armatures. And I should also say, these also will have connectors like this. Okay, I can't find my good example of it, but these will have 2 of these. These are copper. If I scratch this, you can see. Okay, so again, there is other copper in that retractable wheel. Okay, so there it is. That's the copper. That's the scratch test. So again, some more copper, a little bit of brass. I do have to remove that brass, put it into my yellow brass. But those wheels definitely, as well as my armatures, will have some good scrap value too. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Again, I feel bad for the garbage man this on Monday with all that garbage, but again, getting rid of those vacuum cleaners, excellent source of scrappable material. Can't tell if they're copper or not. Don't pass them up. Again, thank you for your comments and questions. I look forward to another great scrapping year. Thank you for all of the support and comments that I've got in 2022. I wish all of my viewers a very happy 2023. Thank you again for everything. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.